Hey, Gerald. We have a few minutes just getting some things set up. Hopefully everything is running smooth. I'm showing green. Let me see. I'll be right back, Gerald. Give me 1 second here. Hey, Sue. Hey, Purple. Ah, that's much better. I had to get over. Hey, Myrna. Had to get over to the actual YouTube page. I couldn't see my stream. There it is. Perfect. I am expecting a delivery, guys. They were supposed to be here already, so if I have to get up in the middle of the live and go to the door, I truly, truly apologize in advance. Hey, Roxanne. Is everybody excited about this card? Oh, you're welcome, Myrna. My husband had an aunt named Myrna, so. Hey, Elaine. Guys, this is a patron-only file, but you can see how it's created, so if you want to try to recreate it, you can do that. Yay, Roxanne. Make sure you subscribe. Don't forget. Hey, Smith. But you can recreate it. If you don't want to recreate it, then if you become a patron, it is available to all my patrons. There's a link in the description below for Patreon. And I thank all my Patreon supporters, of course. What projects have you guys been doing this week? We still have a few minutes before I play the intro and actually kick off the video to get it started. Anybody having any design space issues or anything like that? Open up a second design space window in case we need it. Okay, let me get the intro going, and guys, we will get started. Hey, Linda. Glad you made it. Yay! Hey, Miss Sheila. Oh, those shoes were super cute, Hill. Gerald did some sneakers with little red hearts all over them. They were super, super cute. So guys, this is my mock-up, so you guys don't pay attention to this. It does work smoother than this. But this one kind of got bent a little, so it's kind of wiggly. But I went through several scenarios before I got it right, but it does pull smooth. This is one of the original mock-ups, but it is very smooth once you get everything lined up. And there was one step that I didn't do on this one, so it's got, but I went through about 6 of these before I got it where everything works smoothly. So as you can see, they have different windows on them because I did different things. Yeah, it's supposed to snow here tonight. So because I didn't have time to go to the store, just in case it, our problem is it ices over because it melts so fast and the temp is so cold. Because usually after it melts, immediately the temperature drops and then ours just turns to sheets of ice. So I had a small grocery delivery that was supposed to be here at 7. But if I have to jump up and run to the door, guys, don't mind. I'll be right back. Hey, Elise. Hey, Claudia. Hey, Cynthia. Sue. Sue B. Now we have Sue B and Sue C. But yeah, this one tried to give me a really hard time with the design. Getting it into design space. But I finally got it. So, but we're going to, this is what the final basically looks like. And I'm just going to tell you guys right off the bat, 80-pound cardstock is what you want. This, yours won't do this. This one has a step missing out of it. But this was my final mock-up before I did a for real. Hey, Annie. Ooh, that is cold, Myrna. It's cool here. It's not that cold, but it's pretty cool. So, all right. Hey, Jamie. So, let's go ahead and switch over to Design Space and take a look, because this card is going to require a little, there's a couple of ways you can do it, and I want you to be aware of all the ways. Okay, so if you are a Patreon, you can go ahead and open up the file and get things ready so that you can follow along. And if you're not a Patreon, please consider supporting and getting access to this file and many more. Or you can create your own. So let's get over to Design Space. Hey, Kathy, long time no see. Cynthia, hi. Hey, Susan. Susan's here. And guys, if you aren't subscribed, please click that subscribe button and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you give a thumbs up. This is the file. And it's just 3 pieces. That's really all you need. Thanks, Claudia. It's a fun card. But like I said, you do need 80-pound cardstock, and it doesn't matter if it's textured or smooth. I think, personally, I like the smooth for this, but I did it on some textured, and I didn't have any problem with the textured either, as long as it's not a, textured like your Cricut cardstock and all that is fine. But if you've got some really deep textures like embossing, it's not going to work. So make sure that whatever your texture is, it's not bad. Yes, Linda, Cricut is 80 pound, and it will work fine for this. Okay? And we'll get into more of that when we start putting this card together. I am going to unhide what I am making tonight so you guys can see the finished group as to what it's going to look like. And in this card, I have used my photo as a pattern. I did, Sheila. I said hi to you. I said, there's Miss Sheila. So if you are planning on doing your photos like this, you will need to upload them as a pattern in Design Space. That is one thing you need to do, instead of just uploading them as a PNG or a JPEG. So to do that, the first thing you want to do is go to Upload, and right here you can see here is your upload pattern. And when you click Upload Pattern, everything is the same, except when you drag that photo in, it's just going to drag in, and then you're going to name it, tag it, and it's going to go away. Let me see if I can grab a quick photo to show you guys how that works. Let's see. Let me just... I had a couple of pop-ups there. 1 second. Okay. I'll just use this one. Okay, I have an image. It's just a begonia, that's all it is, and I am just going to drag it and drop it right in to my Design Space. And it's going to pull that photo up, and you see it here, and this is where you'll name it and tag it, and that's a begonia. Okay, so, and you'll need this if we ever get the search options to search for our patterns and stuff. We have a few, but I would like it to be a little more detailed than what it is. And right now you cannot delete any of your uploaded images. It's a thing that they're working on since the update, but go ahead and put yours in there. And I am going to say this is, I don't know, we can say summer. I'm just going to pick something summer and what? Miscellaneous maybe? So we'll just do that. And then down here, I'm going to say floral. And then I'm just going to say multicolor. That way it'll come up. And then I'm going to click Save. And then it's going to upload into Patterns. So once it uploads into Patterns, it's just going to disappear. It does take a few minutes. Oh, I can't wait to see that craft room, Kathy. But just go ahead and let it do its thing. You're going to see a pop-up up here that says loaded or it's not loaded. There it is. Upload successful. So if it says successful, it's in there. You will not see it down here because it's not an uploaded image. If you want it in your images, you're going to have to go to Upload Image and then again drag it and drop it in. Do your cleanup, all of that good stuff, and then you're going to continue and you're going to name it, tag it, save it, all of that good stuff. So now I have it, well, I thought I did. Now I have it in my photos. I've named it, I've tagged it, and I am going to save it. And that is when it appears down in your images that you've uploaded. And it's sort of large, I know, but that's okay. It's going to take it just a minute to process. Doo-doo-doo. Looks like it's going to take a whole minute this time. That was a pretty large image, though. I usually size them down before I do this. So anyway, I'm just going to, I don't really need it in there. Well, there it goes. So now it's in here. So that's the difference. When you do an image, it ends up down here, and when you do an upload, it ends up down here. So now that we have that in there, I'm just going to hit cancel. You can come in to the file and do this a couple of ways. So I'm just going to hide this one again. I just wanted you to see that I did use a pattern on this one, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that. The first thing you need to do is copy or duplicate, whatever you want to do, and hide one. So you have a fresh one in case you mess up. And then I would probably just do a save as anyway. Cricut cardstock will work for this. Then you're going to ungroup it. And you'll notice there's a score right here, guys. If you look over into the layers panel, it's right here. You want to duplicate that because I didn't put it in the file that way because I didn't know which way you guys were going to want to use that. And I am going to change that to a cut, and it's just going to give me that extra little square, and that's all I want right there out of that. I'm going to take this first one. This one has a tail on it, or your pull. This will be your pull, what slides. This is your moving photo. This is your standstill photo. This is the one that shows in the window before they pull the tab, okay? So you want to make sure that you are, whatever photo that you want seen before they pull that tab needs to go on the one without the tail. Stationary, moving, okay? So the square is stationary, the tail is moving, the one with the pull. Susan, I'm not sure, well, I mean, for card bases and things like that, I do like a 110 pound. Depends on the card I'm making, if it's for a wedding, a funeral, birthdays. I use different card stocks. For the inner mechanism of this, I would not go over 80 because at that point you're going to, it could cause an issue. I'm not going to say that it will, but it could cause a movement issue. But your sleeve, you could go 110 with the sleeve. That's not going to matter. You could go 65 with a sleeve if you don't want it to be real sturdy, but I would do at least 80 on all of it. But the inner mechanism needs to be 80 pound to work well. 65 is too flimsy. Yeah, for my bases, yeah, I like this 110. So now we have these. The next thing you want to do is the one that's going to be moving, or your secondary photo, you are going to ungroup it, and detach. You're going to detach, and that's just going to detach that square. Do not move the square. It matters. That is just a guide. You're not going to be using it when you actually cut or make your project, but you do need it until you're ready. Click on it again and detach the cut lines. And then we're just going to arrange and move this to the front so that we can't see anything, but do not move it. You don't want to move it. If you are going to, let me just switch over before I go any further and show you guys what I'm going to be talking about here, because it does matter which method you choose. So let me go over to the project camera and show you a difference in what I'm talking about here. Let's go over and when you do this card, and you can make this window smaller and eliminate that too, but I like a bigger window in it. But if you notice right here, this is where the mechanisms come together. You see that white edge? This is photo 2 back here on this edge. It's going to show slightly. So you need to pick photos that are common in the same color, which I did not do intentionally on my next one. That are close in color, or you need to make your windows smaller, or you need to use your photo as a pattern, and I'm going to show you why. This one, I just did a full pattern on both of them, and it still shows slightly. You can see if you pick, but I did get it cocked in here a little bit, so it doesn't show that much. I did make the window smaller than this one. But this is what you see. You can see that contrast here a little bit better on this one when it's pulled out. So that's the reason for using a pattern fill rather than a photo stuck into the guidelines. So let me go over and show you what difference that makes. So if I want to make my photo just fit in here, I'm just going to duplicate this twice so that I have it. This was the score line that we duplicated and changed to a cut so that we would have it. Here I'm going to take this and make it a print. I'm going to click here at the color square, and I am going to go to pattern, and then I am going to select my pattern. I'm just going to pick the flower for this one. And we're going to bring that flower in. And the reason I'm picking that flower is because it's just probably going to be easier than trying to center up my dog in that one again. So now I have my flower, and you see how it's all tiled, and we of course don't want that. So you're going to click down here and edit your pattern, and you're just going to kind of zoom it in and get it to change and get just about where you want it to be. And that looks good to me. And we do have some tiling down here at the bottom, and that's okay. We're going to move this horizontally, I think. No, vertically. We're going to move this vertically. I'm just going to say 100 to start with. We can always change it. And that went too far that way. So I'm going to change this to -25. Trying to get that flower in the position where I want it. Let's go 15. And that looks pretty good for where it's going. Then I'm going to move it horizontally, and I'm going to say 100 to drop it down. Maybe 125. And it's getting down there to the bottom. If you can see right here, this is our print and cut area that's going to show in the window right there. So that's all I'm doing, is I'm just maneuvering my pattern to go into that direction. So let's go 150. Let's drop it down a little bit more. And that looks good. And I am going to go to minus or even a +5 on this one. Maybe 10. That's better. So now that I've played with the horizontal, the scale, and the zoom, I have it all in there. And now I'm just going to come over here and see where it lands. I am going to arrange and send it to the back. What is inside that score line right there, and that photo is a little dark, I'm sorry. What's in that score line is what's going to show in the window. I'm not worried about any of this up here, not worried about anything down here. Only, well, down here I am, because the score line on this one ends at the bottom. So I can come down just a little bit further with that one. I'm not going to do it here, but I just want to show you. Don't worry about this tail. If you want it to be white, you're just going to fold it in the opposite direction. It's super simple. So we have that done. And this is the other option. And I'm going to just undo that, just so that I don't have that photo in there to show you the difference. It's going to depend on your photo as to how you do this. So if I want to upload my photo and grab my image and insert it, it's going to take it a moment. There's my photo. When you're doing people, this can matter, and that's why the pattern works better, because you can maneuver the pattern easier than you can maneuver this photo. You have a couple of options with the photo. You can bring this piece in and slice it, or you can size it down. But when you size it down, you start to lose parts of your photo. If you unlock it and skew it, then it's going to be skewed. But that is one way to do it. Place it in here and then flatten it to the piece. So there's a couple of ways that you can do it, and those are the ways. Again, same thing with this one. You want to have it inside those score lines no matter what method you do. If you use a pattern, make sure that that lands where you want it to inside those scores. So that's the problem with using your photo, it's going to skew and get it, to try to get it edge to edge and cover like you want it to cover without getting that white area when you do your movement. If I do that and stretch it, it's not going to land really where I want it in those score lines. This flower, it really doesn't matter, but if it's a person, you may be chopping off their heads and things like that. So your pattern fill is going to work best for this card. So we're just going to pretend that I've already got my pattern filled, because I have, and I'm just going to select all that. Once you have your pattern fill in there, guys, I don't know if I can go back. Once the pattern fill is in there, then you're going to arrange and move this to the back, and I haven't moved anything. You're going to find that square score line in your layers panel right here, and you're going to delete it. You don't need it anymore once you've got your photo lined up in there. And when you put your pattern fill in there, it's automatically going to flatten that piece. It's going to show as flattened. You're just going to select it, and you're going to attach your score lines back onto it. I mean your cut lines. Hey, Wanda. It's an old card, Sue. I even uploaded the old card to make sure that I got these spaced right for the cut lines, because I was so afraid that I was going to get the cut lines off. I uploaded a template to show me, to make sure that I had them spaced exactly how they had to be spaced, because I had cut them so many times and they just wouldn't work, that I was off either on one or the middle one was off. I never could get them to be where I needed them to be. It took me about 2 weeks to lay this thing out and get it right. So, hi Donna. And I really didn't want to delete that. I want to keep that. Anyway, well, I did. I did another group. So, let me go and unhide that group. That's the one duplicate I made. I don't want that one. I want the one that I've already set up. Give it just a second to load. And keep in mind, guys, when you do these, I would duplicate and do a save as. That way you have your base and it's never touched, because you don't want to put 3 or 4 of these cards into one file, or you're going to run into this, because photos use a lot of memory. So if you can use images from Design Space to do this, guys. You can make these business cards that change. So you just want to make sure that if you size any of this, you size it all together. When you put your photos in like I have here, you do not move your lines. These lines are extremely important and they need to be where they are. Doing a line center and all that is not going to work for this card. So make sure that you have a clean copy at all times. Once you've done that, you're just going to hit Make It, send it over to your printer, and do your print and cut. So you would hit Make It. This piece is going to print, then it's going to cut, and it's going to score right there. That's the only score on this card, just on that tail. Then you're going to also do your second one, and then you have your scores on this, and that's it. Really quick card once you get it. The longest part about this card is getting your pattern, your photo into the patterns, and then putting your pattern and placing it where you want it on the card. After that, guys, this is a really fast card. You're going to see, you're going to be amazed how quick it goes together. So does anybody have any questions on getting their photo in as a pattern fill and getting it ready in there? Hey, Kathy. Yeah, so far all we've covered is putting in your pattern and not moving these lines, and then get rid of your little square. I just put that square in there as a score so that you guys could see exactly where your photo is going to need to land. And another one on this one, you can use this line right here as a guide, your cut line. That's going to be the top of your photo. That line, above that line, is not going to show, so if it's tiled up there, doesn't matter. If it's tiled down here below that, this last one, or right just maybe a 1/4 inch below that one there, it's not going to show. So, and this is the one that gets glued. This one gets no adhesive whatsoever. So let's go over to the project camera and we will start to assemble this card. If you have questions, guys, put them in caps so that we can answer them. We'll go back and we'll answer any questions that you have. We'll make sure that everybody gets an answer to everything. Right, Susan? Yeah, you can pause and go back. Yeah, it's a super fun project. Like I said, you can make business cards out of these, guys, to go with whatever it is. If you're selling signs, you can put something in there that's got your logo on it, and then when they pull it, have your phone number, address, or your YouTube channels, whatever it is that you have, can be when they pull it out. So it has a ton of capability with just one file. You get tons of stuff that you can do. And again, this is 65, and you see if it slightly gets bent, you see how it pulls and does that? That's why I'm telling you 65 doesn't work well, okay? It might work because I added a step. I haven't checked it yet, so if anybody wants to test it with 65 after I show this tip when we put it together, then you can. But the 80-pound worked really well, because it's going to get some use, guys. So I'm saying that the 80 pounds is the way to go. Anything heavier than that, it's probably going to catch, and you don't want to do that. And I did cut a couple of extras to decorate this card with. This is because I can't write on this glittery dog bone paper. So I did a little panel to go either inside. I haven't decided. I don't think I can put it inside, but I'm just going to put it on the back for my dog's vet, and a little wolf and a little dog bone, and we'll put those on there in just a minute. So the first thing you want to do is your sleeve, the 2 score lines, and I'm trying to see it there. I'm having a really hard time seeing that on this glitter paper. I apologize that I'm off camera looking for it, but my light is better off camera. There we go. So I'm just going to give that a fold, and then you have your tab here. I think that's on the score. I hope it is. Nope, it isn't. Of course it isn't. There we go. I think I got it. And that may be off a little bit, guys. I may have to adjust that score. I don't know if I folded it wrong or if my score line is off. I did so much adjusting to the file. Who knows? So I'm gonna go with it. I'm gonna say that it's because I goofed up my score. Let's just see. Oh yeah, I have plenty of space. So I'm just going to correct it. This time by trimming I was off really bad when I folded that. Hopefully you won't fold yours wrong. I am going to double check the file that's posted for you guys and make sure that that's right. I will cut another one of these. So if you want to hold up on cutting until after I've checked it. Oh yeah. Oh, that was a little bit of work, but we got it. Okay. That's all there is to this piece. You're not going to glue anything yet. You're just going to fold it. Your stationary photo, make sure without bending any of these flaps, guys, that they're all loose and cut in all of the corners and that they are loose. You need them to be loose without bending them. You need to check this one without bending these, that everything has been cut through. I didn't see any problem in the file, so as long as they're cut. You want to stack the photos, and then these little legs of this one, you're just going to tuck into each one of those. And I tried to get two contrasting photos so you could see that it's going to create these little mountains here, but just the tails, you're just going to put these tails through right here. Let's see. Like so. Okay, you're just going to feed all of those into each one of those slots. Without bending anything. And so it's going to look something like that once you've got them in there. Yours looks right. Yeah, I think I just missed my score line, Cynthia. Hey, Debbie. So once you have that done, just going to line up that photo so that it looks right, even though it's threaded through there. Make sure everything's threaded. Then you're going to align and make sure, oops, I forgot one step. If you don't want this to be that color, guys, you're going to have to fold it one way or the other so that you have your tab folded. One way or the other so that it's white. You can go ahead and glue that so it's not sticking up out of the way. Either way that you decide to fold it is fine. I just wanted a white tab on mine. I don't think that it matters folding it up or folding it to the back. It's still going to be the same. But when you're using your photo as a pattern, then you have that color showing. Snip off any excess if you have it. We've got all of that lined up. We've got it all in there, and you want just a little bit of area on each side of that photo. You don't need a whole lot. I found that it was easier if I laid it down and then just kind of made sure it was straight on that one. Okay, just like that. Got a little bit of edge here, a little bit of edge here. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then line up your photo. This top cut strip lines up perfect with this right here. So you can line it up in there just like that. Make sure it's straight. And if it's showing this, it doesn't matter. Right now it doesn't matter at all. Then you're just going to take a little bit of glue on this end, and you don't want to get it on anything else. And on this end, make sure you're not getting it on the bottom photo. You want to make sure that you're on this top one. like so, right here. And then you're just going to, with it lined up, make sure it stays lined up, just close it down. Give it a second to dry. I didn't really design it, Sue. It's been around for a while. I had it in my files, in my handwritten file book and all of that. But I never made them because they were so hard to get lined up. But I figured with the Design Space I could make them now because we could get it to line up. So I used the template to help me make the Design Space file. So now that you have this in there and it's stuck right there, you're going to open it up. And guys, this is very important. Make sure that your tail is in there where it's supposed to be. Again, do not get glue on your bottom photo here, but all of these little legs, you want just a very minute, I mean, a little. If you get too much, your mechanism's not going to open. You're just going to dot each one of those little legs, and that's it. And then you're just going to fold that over and stick that down. Just like that. So all I did was fold it over and stick it back down. So you should still be able to get in here, and you'll see that all your little tails are stuck down. Okay? And here is photo 1 is stuck to the front, photo 2 is stuck to the back by way of these little legs being stuck. You're going to fold this piece over that bottom photo, and then your top photo that is glued up here is going to glue down on this. So I'm just going to place glue. You don't want to get enough on that edge that will squish out onto the photo. If you do, it's going to kill your mechanism. And you're just going to glue that down. And of course I picked glitter paper that's going to take forever to dry, right? Yeah, this is art glitter glue. You can get it from artglitter.com. It has no glitter in it. Dries clear. Dries matte. So you don't want to use it on shiny paper if you're a messy gluer because it will show matte. Hopefully I can get that to stick. Once you have that glued, guys, you're going to open up this end, the one without the pull, and you're just going to put a small bead of glue right on the end, on the inside, and glue that shut. Then you're going to open up this end, and shy of the thumb hole on each side, you're just going to put a little bead on each side of your tab there so that the mechanism doesn't get caught in there. Yeah, my fold was off because that's off right there, but I'm just going to live with it for this tutorial. Just going to glue that down. And then you're finished. How neat. That's all there is to it, guys. I told you the hardest part about this is laying your photo out in Design Space for your pattern. And this is what I meant by make sure that your photos are close in color because it will show on this side. You can cut this down, but it's still going to show. The only way to do it is to make a really small window, and I didn't want to do that. So, but you can put anything over that if it bothers you. You can do like a little woof right there, and nobody's ever going to see it as long as it doesn't get in the way of the mechanism. You don't want to glue into this area, but you can hide this and do all sorts of things. I'm just going to, I think I'll pop dot that up. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, thanks, Susan. Yeah, this, guys, has a ton of possibilities. Just gonna, I think I'm going to use, if you guys haven't used wobbles, you can get these on scrapbook.com. I have a link below, and I've just cut a bone and I put a little piece of red on the back of that. But these wobbles are a lot of fun if you've never used them. Hopefully this will stay on this card with all this glitter, but I'm just gonna, if I can see to stick it. These make lots of fun for your so you get that little bit of wobble action. How cute. But you can do tons and tons and tons of things with these. Don't know. You can trim this off. I did leave this long, because it will vary on your photos, how you put them in there. And I just didn't want to not give you guys anything to work with, in case you wanted to do ribbons or whatever, and you can always make them longer. This guy may be too big for this, but I'm going to try it anyway. I can always remove him. How cute. And my card is done. I'm going to have to turn him a little bit. There we go. So does everybody understand how they did that? Yes, they do make black pop dots. I get these at, I want to say I got these at Hobby Lobby. Good night, Elise. So everybody understands how to do your photos now and how to put this together, and you can always replay it, of course. It is very easy, Annie. Like I said, the hardest part is just getting that photo squared up in there, and that's what that guide and everything is for. And you can play this back. It'll be available on replay so that you can get that that guide. It's going to help you get your photo exactly where it needs to be on those. You don't need it for any other thing other than just getting your photo centered up. You guys can do it. You can. It's very easy. The hardest part of this was trying to lay out and get the cuts right. But I've done all that for you. And it wasn't easy for me. Usually all that stuff's easy for me. I can look at a template or see something somewhere and I can generally put it in there. But this one gave me a really hard time. Yay! Make sure you guys subscribe, give a thumbs up on the video, and I appreciate you watching. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to let me know in the groups, and we'll go over it, whatever you need. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you. Thank you, moderators. Thank you, patrons. And again, this file is available for patrons on the Design tab.